Welcome to the COSB 360 Conversations podcast, the platform for county influencers. This is a new platform being launched by County HR's Organizational and Talent Development Division to engage with our leaders and keep our workforce informed. This is also one way that we can share the efforts of departmental staff and what it takes from a leadership perspective to keep the wheels turning in our organization. This podcast is being co-hosted by June Mighty and Dr. Leonie Mattison.
Thank you all for joining us today, and welcome to today's 360 podcast or video cast with our Emergency Management Director, Ms. Kelly Hubbard. I'm so excited. We are excited. Leonie and I are so excited to have her on the program with us today. And so before we get started, I want to just do a little snippet of your job description. So I went online, of course, I looked at it, Kelly.
Like June, for real? June, like for real, you're gonna do a job description?
Yeah. It's from the news. So
Somebody
it's not a real job
Kelly,
description.
somebody say Kelly from June.
It's
Say
news.
Kelly from June.
It's
Say
news.
Kelly from
Hold on. So, it's like Kelly Hubbard, head of Santa Barbara County Emergency Management, local news. I like that, right? And so I went through and I read, but I stopped, at the place where our CEO, Mona Miyasato, said that, Ms. Hubbard is a proven emergency management professional with an ability to bring together and lead community partners, government agencies in successful preparedness, response, and recovery efforts, right? And that's where I'm going to stop for right now, because some of the questions that we have for you sort of surrounds that, right? And I think I had a prepared question, but I think I'm going to wing this one. You've been with the county like a little over a year, right? And so this description talks about emergency management. Yes, earthquakes, floods, whatever. You used to work for the water district, but we have COVID now.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the dynamics of stepping into this role and stepping into this different dimension of emergency management and navigating the COVID environment. Just talk to us a little bit about that. What is that like for you, and how is it different than some of the other things that you have done in your previous in your journey, and what are some of the nuances that you have to consider as you navigate this?
Yeah, well, you're right. I've been here just over a year, and we were doing, I think it was around review time, we're looking at it, and we had been activated 5 times in the first, I think, 9 months that I'd been here, for more than 2/3 of that time. And so for various incidents, conception was my 3rd week here, and all the way up to now with COVID. And so I think what's really interesting about COVID and response, and it's not unlike a fire, there's another agency who's really the lead agency. And in this case, that's public health, and all of our healthcare workers are our heroes in this event, right? And so what is Office of Emergency Management's role? Our role is really to support who are our lead agencies out in the field, who are our lead agencies out doing this immediate response and need, and responding to the community. And so we're here to help public health and any other agency involved in that response. And I think what's interesting for emergency management is it really does come down to the same things. It's situational awareness, understanding. It's just a nuanced concept of how do we maintain situational awareness when we're talking to hospitals and public health, and how is that impacting our departments and all of our staff who will have various impacts, whether it's from their offices being closed, or their services not being the same because they can't provide their services in a normal manner, or because their kids are home. And various concepts. And so I think that awareness of what's going on, both for our county family, our what we call our operational area family, which is all of the government entities in our county, and our community. And so we, as emergency management, part of our role is to maintain that situational awareness of what's going on with all of those various groups, and then try to ensure communication of those concepts. What's happening with each of those groups? What are their needs? How can we support their needs by coordinating additional resources? And so it brings in a lot of different partners and agencies, private, nonprofit, and our community members to ensure that this event or any other event that we're responding in a way that supports the community.
And you know what, so Kelly, thank you so much for that, because that response that you gave actually sort of answered a second question that I had. So now I don't have to really ask that question. But tell me, you know, as best as you can, you talk about the nuances. You have all these stakeholders.
Yeah,
right?
There's a lot of stakeholders. And I think, you know, when we have, for instance, if we have an OA or operational area coordination call, there's well over 100 government agencies from our county alone that are participating in that call. And a lot of people don't realize how many government agencies we have in our county. But two, that all of them, you know, one of the worst things we can do in a disaster is make an assumption about what impacts might be. And so,
I like that.
you know, we really need to check in with our partners. And even when I used to work with my water utilities, and there would be an incident, and they would said, oh, we didn't check in because we were all okay. And I said, well, how do I know you didn't fall into the black hole of whatever happened? And unless you tell me that, hey, we're all okay, right? And so just to give you an example of some of our stakeholders, the OEM staff are working, I feel like weekly, it was daily for a long time with Food Bank, working to make sure Food Bank, they needed additional staffing support. We were coordinating National Guard for Food Bank, trying to find volunteer efforts for them. We've signed a memorandum of understanding to help support them fiscally through this incident as well. So Food Bank, California Office of Emergency Management, all of our cities, all of our departments, working really closely with Community Services Department, another huge hero in this event. They have done just a magnificent effort with our homeless population, working to put them in a temporary shelter that we had for a while. We still have Project Room Key. The other department that I'd love to give a shout out to is General Services. They have just been,
they handle everything.
and they have been impacted like none other. They are helping every department put in protective measures for when we all come back into our offices. They were helping public health with testing sites and setting up the Project Room Key, the hotel site for the homeless. You know, and when you talk about homeless, this gives you just another example of, you know, some of these various stakeholders. CSD has been doing an amazing job placing these homeless individuals into some permanent housing options. Well, part of that is that these individuals need IDs, Social Security cards. Well, Social Security Administration was closed. DMV was closed during most of this. So helping them to connect, having them reach out through their partners, us through our state partners. Hey, can we come up with an alternative protocol? Because if we're going to place these homeless individuals, I know you're not officially open, but what can we do to help these partners? And those are some of the types of concepts that we get into when we start nuancing some of these little things that I never thought about, you know, that many of the homeless don't have their IDs. And if DMV is closed, then how do we support them?
You know what, and thank you so much for sharing that story, because that's not something that I thought about. You know, it just didn't come to my mind about the identification and Social Security card, and that's really phenomenal. And I'm sure there's many of us around the county, we're thinking about other things, but that did not come to mind. So thank you so much for sharing that. And the host of partners. Go ahead.
Can I chime in? You know, the interesting thing that I've been hearing as we talk to our leaders, it goes back to the transformative behaviors, right? And one of our transformative behaviors is actually what? Collaboration, right? Right? Am I right? Mona,
No,
yes. C,
no, you're correct.
The C is yes, I got it right. The C is collaboration. Going back to my thought. So what I'm hearing you say is actually one of the biggest or one of the most important factors to consider in a disaster, and whether it's a personal crisis that someone is going through or what we're all going through right now, is the ability to collaborate. And there's a book that Adam Grant has coming out pretty soon, and I think it's called "It's Okay Not to Know," right? So we don't have all the answers, but the ability to tap into our partners, right? And to say, hey, right, to tap into them and say, hey, we have this population that needs to be serviced, right? We need to provide the services to the homeless population, and their ability to say, hey, we ought to think about this one. We ought to think about, these things that's required. It comes down to collaboration and relationship that we heard on Monday, June, having those established relationships or deepening or initiating new relationships, right? To make this all work. And it just warms my heart to hear that. And I hope that our employees and community members listening today really hear and kind of keen and kind of lean into the concept or embrace that collaboration is so important.
Yeah,
Period.
one of the primary things I talk to my emergency managers about is we don't have to be the experts on everything, and we can't be. But what we have to be willing to do is listen to what the needs are and say, I can figure that out. Let me see what I can do. And it's not that it's not that we know how to resolve or solve the problem, but we know we're going to pick and look at our contact list, and we're going to look through and say, talk to a department and say, hey, are you the one who can maybe help with this? Okay, no, well, let's go over here. And, it's about a willingness to continue to push and find answers and solutions. And that all comes from collaboration. That's the only way we'd get there.
And you know what? So you guys are going in the right direction, because here's one of the things I wanted to bring out, also part of her description. So at the time, Matt Pontus had said that Kelly brings a highly collaborative approach, right? And a perspective to our committed talented Office of Emergency Management team. And so with that being said, and Leonie sort of just took us into that area, and you gave us some tidbits there in terms of, we don't know everything, but tell me, how is this collaborative approach, is this a skill that you developed, or do you find that it's the water that you swim in? You know what I mean by that term? Meaning, are you with me?
I am. I think it's something that I've always done personally, but I think it's something that can be learned. And sometimes, even though by nature I'm a collaborative person, I always want to ask who else should be involved, who might this impact. Sometimes we still have to remind ourselves, sometimes, and so if it doesn't come natural to you, or even if it does, there's times when you get caught up in the moment and you get caught up in what we're doing, and you think, ooh, if I just get this done, if I just let me just hunker down in my office, I can finish this and we can get it done quickly. And sometimes you have to do that, but often, it's important to push back out and say, wait, do we really need to bear down and get this done? Or let's bring those other partners in. Let's not forget, let's get those other opinions. Let's make sure they're giving us insight. We're asking them to participate in committees, giving us, maybe leading an effort because they have the expertise, but helping to facilitate, so that we get that whole community picture. One of the things, example, I think that I'm implementing here is I've asked ILRC, the Independent Living Resource Center, is a nonprofit in our community. They coordinate they coordinate services for our most vulnerable populations, our seniors, those with access functional needs. It's about being independent, having independence despite having vulnerabilities. And so we've asked them to be a collaborator with us and review our emergency plans. because we want to make sure that our emergency plans are taking into consideration those vulnerable populations, maybe those who aren't as physically able, those who maybe have mental challenges or emotional challenges. And so we've asked them to be our partner in that and really open our eyes to what we might be missing.
June, you know where she's going with that.
No. I like where she's going, but I'm going to take this.
I like where she's going. You know what we talk about.
Wait. Hold on. You see, because the beauty of having Kelly here and having collaboration really being the water that she swims in, right? It really is sort of native to her nature. Here's the thing, Kelly, because you have all these partners and because it is emergency management, you do work with so many different agencies and also federal agencies as well. And I was listening to another speaker. I can't remember the admiral's name, but he oversaw the spill of the BP spill and some of the hurricane responses.
Hurricane Katrina, yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, here's what I want to know from you, and think this thing through. You said it. There is really a time for collaboration, and you need insight, but there's also a point where you have to step and move.
Yeah. How
do you make that decision in terms of, okay, because collaboration is so important, but sometimes what happens with collaboration, people collaborate, and nothing moves forward, and then it's not effective. But if you move too fast, you may miss a perspective, right? So what are some of the things that you do to sort of, let's just admit, we're not always going to have all the information. This guy said, one thing is know that there's always information that you don't have. All right. So let's just always, but what do you do to try to balance the two between we need to collaborate, but we need to move?
Yeah, that's a difficult one. And I mean, I think that's a difficult one in day-to-day business as well as an emergency, right? And so I think in emergencies, it's often, if it is a fast-moving event, it becomes such as a wildland fire or something, or flooding, there is less time to collaborate and you do have to make decisions. And I think in those situations, one of the things that is helpful for me and my staff is, one, having policies and procedures that outline what we should be doing in certain situations, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And being trained on those and having those pre-approved and identified. And then there's going to be times where we don't have those identified and pre-approved. And so it's being able to, I think the second part is if you do have a couple key relationships, being able to maybe at least reach out to one or two others where you can go, let's just validate this as quickly as we can. But you do have to decide to move forward at times. And I think that decision is a difficult one that I think you need to look at. What is your comfort and knowledge of the situation? How much information can you or do you have ability to confirm? And who do you have around you to support you in that decision making? And having that amazing team around you, whether that's having our CEO policy group over here in the EOC, or if it's my OEM team who has been amazing, to say, okay, what do you know about what's happened in the past? Where are we at? Can we make a decision to move forward and feel like we're doing the right thing for the community and doing it quickly so that the community isn't impacted? And the same thing goes for day to day. I think small things that I try to remember, asking others for opinions, but you ask once, maybe you ask twice, and then maybe the third time you say, just so you know, this is moving forward by this date and time, and if we don't hear from you, we are assuming we are assuming you are in collaboration. And it's recognizing everyone has their own burdens to carry and may not always be able to prioritize what your priorities are, but giving them an idea of, hey, this is where we're going to have to move forward so that we meet our goals and deadlines if needed.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. That was a very balanced perspective. I love that. Thank you so much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it over to you, Leonie, because you know what? Kelly has really answered a lot of my questions as she was moving through this.
Awesome. I mean, again, it is such a delight having you on, and welcome to the county. Were you at my new employee welcome session? I don't remember.
Your
But
new
I
employee sessions are always on the same day of the month, which is amazing.
But this is not the time to ask her that question, Leonie.
I want to make sure I welcomed her. I wasn't sure if I did my welcome. I just want to make sure,
I've been welcomed heartily.
There you go. Okay. So having said that, I am curious to know what has been your single most challenge during this pandemic.
I think it goes to, there are so many different aspects to the response, and we talked about public health being our leaders and our heroes in this, but there's a lot of other agencies who are part of this, and so keeping the awareness of all the different components and keeping clear lines of communication are just are difficult. And I'll give you a rundown of just some. We work with the Agricultural Commission, the state, the feds. We have a recovery group, RISE, that Nancy Anderson's leading. We have legislative meetings. We have a parks group that meets. We have code enforcement, seniors, feeding, homeless, another vulnerable populations meeting. And so I think it's really difficult to maintain awareness of the various impacts. And part of that difficulty is the extent and length of this incident. And that creates all kinds of problems between fatigue in reporting and getting information, fatigue in people working a lot of hours on this incident, and not really getting a break from COVID all the time. And so, but keeping that, not excitement, that drive, to keep moving forward and continue to be aware of all the situations and understand that that situational awareness and communications is impacted by fatigue. It's impacted by how long this event is going. It's changing, the impacts are changing because of the length of the event, and it's going to continue for 6 months, a year. And so really looking at, making sure I think our next challenge is developing our system of management and support overall countywide that is maintainable and sustainable, that allows us to continue to provide the support that we believe is great for the community, and still take care of ourselves, be ready for any other disaster that may occur, and be able to, because it's long-term, we kind of have to normalize it a little bit, and how do we integrate it into what we do daily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great response. Thanks for that. And and then which leads me to the next question of what are some of the things that you hope to accomplish, say, come 2021? Because I said this on Monday, and I'll say it again. I want to do over. I didn't do 2020. I'm just existing in 2020 right now. I need a do-over. That being said, what are some of the things you hope to accomplish in 2021, assuming, because you just said we have like 6 months to a year. So assuming that we have some sense of, as you said, quote unquote, normalcy.
Yeah, I think it's funny, when you get your mailers for whatever nonprofit you might support on a regular basis. I think I'm collecting them now. I think I'm up to 6 2021 calendars that, that they're sending out as part of their fundraisers. And I think everyone's on the same page. Everyone just wants to get to 2021. And so I think part of that is normalcy, being able, as emergency manager, I feel like I haven't been able to focus on those concepts or programs that I feel like are really important to the program, the county, and the community. And so hopefully we can get back to focusing on community resiliency. We are doing that during COVID, but not just about COVID and, health resiliency, but resiliency and preparedness for other events and potential issues or concerns that may come up. And hopefully, one of my goals in my first year was to get into strategic planning as a group and OEM, and we haven't been able to do that. And so, I mean, it'd be wonderful to really start thinking forward. We routinely do 5-year, it's pretty common in emergency management to do 5-year emergency planning and training calendars. But really you need a larger strategic overview and concept to get there. And so hopefully we can get back to some of those things, community resiliency and more of a overall strategy on how OEM continues to develop and serve the community.
Great. Thank you. And I believe you will get there. I believe we are, again, we're over, but y'all are not trying to come on the same page with me. Y'all want to get to 2021, but it's okay.
I'm okay with a do-over.
Wait.
I have a lot scheduled, but there's a lot happening.
Hold on. I don't want to do over, and nor am I trying to get to 2021. Because you see, in 2019, people wanted to get to 2020, and so I'm simply just trying to take it one step at a time right now. I mean, I think that's the space I'm in, because I'm like, I have no clue what 2021 is going to bring.
So, as a side note, I thought about this morning about how, they always have these little taglines each year, and this was supposed to be the year of focus. Gosh, are we not focused? I mean, what else? We're like all singularly focused on how we're navigating through this crisis, right? And so, what would you like, Kelly, the county organization or beautiful County of Santa Barbara audience to know about your role, the role that you play in this organization?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and we have staff that are on call 24/7, and really OEM, I have some amazing staff here who are just really dedicated to the profession, to the county, to the community. And I think part of that dedication is they're service oriented. And so our role, the way we look at ourselves, is we are here to serve all of we kind of look at it, I tell them we have 3 audiences or customers that we serve, and that is the county itself, various county departments, the county family, our OA partners, all of those other agencies out there in the throughout our county, and that is everything from local government, special districts, school districts, cities, the federal partners that are within our county, the California partners like the state parks that are in our community. And we serve our community members, both unincorporated and otherwise. And so I think what I'm amazed about when I look at my staff in our department is they are so service oriented. And sometimes they think, I think the community thinks emergency managers are pessimistic, because we're talking about disaster and doom and, what's gonna happen next. But I think that comes from a place of optimism. We're optimistic that our partner agencies have the skills and abilities to help support our community. We're optimistic that if we work together and plan in advance, that we will be able to serve the community in the best way possible. We're also optimistic that our community is resilient. Our community has learned, the Santa Barbara community has learned from various disasters, but also one of the things I've seen since coming here is there's this great sense of community network, and that lends itself to resilience. And so I think one of the things that we like to look at is how can we make our community more resilient? And we have optimism in the fact that we think that everyone, whether that's a department, an agency, or an individual community member, has the ability to contribute to that process. And so, any way we can help anyone identify how they can become more resilient and contribute to that process, we're here to help guide that through.
Great. I totally agree with you that you have a fantastic staff, because they actually do provide support to HR OTD in the form of, you know, there are subject matter experts when it comes to this topic. So they're presenting during our new employee welcome program. And we're looking to actually partner with your group to put together a disaster service worker program, right?
Excited.
So I agree. Yes, I agree with you in wanting to get back to the programming side of, you know, really helping our county family and partners and community members to not only say we've been through a lot. And I think in addition to that word resiliency, what I'm feeling as a community member and as a county family member is the need to be refueled.
Yes.
That's why I think a lot of us are feeling like we've been going. I think the resiliency, it's there, but it needs to be refueled, right?
Yeah.
And so
and that's the concept. That fatigue reduces a community's resiliency, because resiliency is about our ability to bounce back, our ability to bring back normalcy to our lives and our communities. And if we are continually feeling fatigued, we can't do that as effectively.
absolutely. And it's like, to me, I see courage is what's on display right now more than resiliency. I don't know if you agree with me, but I see people who are really rising, emerging as these brave soldiers, right? In the face of this war. I call it an invisible war that we're in. And so, you know, in addition to resiliency, I see courage on display. It's the courage to get up every day. And when you have to go to the store, or you have to go into the office, or now, you know, as parents, we're having to make the decision if our children go in the classroom. That takes a lot of courage, right? So I think it's the refueling. I see courage on display, and I almost feel like resiliency, it needs to be refueled. So I look forward to really seeing how we as a community will come together to celebrate having navigated through this. I really want that, Santa Barbara. Hello, Santa Barbara, county family, and Santa Barbara in a whole. This is an announcement.
Call to action. Leonie's call to action.
This is an announcement. We need to get together as a family, and, you know, let's bring some jerk chicken to the party, and some, you know, what do you call what the Spanish make again? Tamales, is that what they call it? Yeah, and whatever other foods, and let's celebrate after after we've gone through all of this. Please, let's not waste our courage and our resiliency. So the last question I have for you is, what are some tips that you could share about staying safe, I need it, during the season, and even as we move deeper into this fire season?
Yeah, I think there's a concept of staying safe in the season with COVID and the coming holidays, right? And that's going to be hard, and that's going to, you know, I already have friends and family asking, well, what does this mean for the holidays? You know, am I not supposed to see my family? I need that. And so I think the importance there is remembering our three concepts of washing your hands, distance, right, mask, but, you know, finding safe ways to enjoy your family and friends during the holidays. You know, I think people fatigued on doing Zoom or social media get-togethers and happy hours, and, you know, maybe it's time to go back to some of those, and it's going to be hard to keep to some of that, but you know, making sure you're making safe decisions for you and your family and your coworkers, you know, that you're continuing to maintain that social distancing, maintain that hand washing. You know, if you do get together with family, doing it safely, finding a way, whether it's virtually or outside in a park, and you guys socially distance across from each other, and, you know, everyone brings their tamales or whatever else they're bringing to celebrate with. Their jerk chicken, yeah. And And then when we talk about fire season and some of those other things that, you know, we still have a high potential for. And so ways that people can be prepared moving through that season as well. One of the things I like to do is my emergency kit has canned goods, dry goods in it. I use Thanksgiving as a time of year to refresh my emergency kit. I take all those dry goods, canned goods out before they expire. And then I donate them to the local food pantry or kitchen or wherever it might be. And then I use that as my opportunity to reinvigorate, recheck my emergency kit every Thanksgiving. You know, if I can donate some of those goods and get them to somebody else before they go bad, and then I can refresh my kit so that I'm ready. If you live in
question here, Kelly.
Yeah.
What's your favorite canned good to have in your
Oh,
what's your favorite? What do you not want to live without in the case of an emergency?
does wine count?
That was something Leonie would say. That's a Leonie.
So I would probably need fruit. Fruit.
That is not a canned good. Oh, yes.
No, but you can get canned fruit. You can get canned wine now.
Oh,
Yes, you can. Yes, you
oh
do.
my gosh. That is hilarious. That sounds like a Leonie response.
No, you know, honestly, I backpack and I hike in some of my off time, and so my emergency kit actually has a lot of backpacking foods and goods in there that are dried goods and concepts. I lean towards the dried goods, and but part of that is making sure, right? If you say your favorite food is to have a can of Campbell's soup, chicken noodle soup, most people aren't willing to eat that cold, and so.
Mhm.
Do you have something in your emergency kit to heat that up? You know, I keep a trash can. I have a big plastic trash can that has a tight fitting lid. I used to keep it in my backyard when I had one. Now I don't. So it's right at the front corner of my garage. So hopefully I can get to it. And in there, I have my food, but I also have a small camp stove in there, and matches, and a can opener, because I want to be able to get into my soup.
Wow.
So, you know, small things like that. And then, like, if you have kids, you want to think about what are your kids going to be willing to eat? And a lot of times that's things that might be a little bit more perishable. And so then just making sure you're updating it, finding something a little bit more shelf stable, like maybe some granola bars, some fruit snack, kind of leathers kind of thing. You know, and then if you have pets or young children who need diapers, those types of things, you want to include those things in your kit.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay.
It is, but you know what? One item at a time. Don't let it overwhelm you.
No. But it's really, that's really good information. I don't think I have the can opener.
And Leonie, don't forget the bottle opener for your wine.
No, but the can wine is actually, it's like a soda pop. So it pops up, you know, so.
Really?
I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay, all right. Learn something new every day. Love it.
And that Sadie always remind us during the new employee welcome program too, to remember, you know, your folks who are on medication. Yes. You know, just making sure that you have that, you know, extra or plan for how you're going to be able to sustain yourself on certain medications. So I think that's even a good reminder for us during this time too. I think today is a great shake.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we shook earlier. Remember?
Yeah, we shook and we sent our pictures. We sent our pictures as an HR family. We were under the table, girl. We were under the table at that time. So, you know, those are all the questions I have for you, but I really appreciate the candid conversation and, you know, a lot of information. Oh, you have yeah, the entire HR department when we sent pictures around.
Congrats. Awesome.
We did it with clients. So yeah, so
awesome.
Jim, what are your closing remarks?
Okay, so my closing comment is this, which was not a question that I had for you previously. if you had one quote to leave us with, what would that be? If you had one that you like, one that you created, just.
Well, I have an awful memory when it comes to quotes and jokes and names of movies or songs. My brain just doesn't think that way. But me personally, you know, I think we're talking about refreshing and reviving, refueling ourselves, right? And so for me, that's me getting out in nature and hiking and camping. And so find your happy, find what's gonna help bring that sense of calm, bring that sense of community back to you. My family has started, my mom loves puzzles. So we've started passing puzzles around, and that's literally from California to Texas to Illinois and back.
Wow.
And we feel a sense of doing something together, because even if one family did it first and then, another one's doing it. And so find your happy, find your way that you can connect back to what's going to fill your soul and refresh you, refresh your passion for work, your passion for what you do, your family, whatever that is, find that to help you through it.
All right.
I
Kelly,
felt refreshed
that is
just hearing
awesome.
that. I felt refreshed just hearing that I felt refreshed, an instant refresh. So thank you. Thank you
so much for joining us, answering our questions and sharing your insights with the county audience. I do believe that your examples in terms of collaboration, the examples that you provided us, not just telling about it, but you give us some really tangible examples, and also how to balance the two between the collaboration and execution, because at some point you have to execute and take what you have to take into consideration to do that. And truly appreciate it. And so welcome again to the county. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully this won't be the last of us seeing you joining us. We'll see what happens in the new year.
No problem. Right. Thank you, ladies. Appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Take care now.
Bye, gals.
Thank you for listening to the interview portion of our program. Up next, we will take a deeper dive into the topics covered and also provide some news and updates.
Yoni, anything that you want to add as we close our program for today? Anything you have coming up new?
What do we have coming up? We have coming up I'm going to keep echoing or re-echoing the cybersecurity awareness. It's still October. So my expectation is that all county employees, this is a call from Mother Teacher Leone, please complete your cybersecurity training or else I'm coming for you. So we have until the end of January 2021 to complete that training. So I'm just a friendly reminder to everyone. It's 60 minutes. Just get it done before you go off for Thanksgiving. The other piece is the CSUN, the California State University Northridge program, and all of the opportunities that's been offered to our county employees and also to our partners. So we're going to be opening up the program to the entire county of Santa Barbara. So there's an opportunity for community members as well as county employees to complete their master's in public administration, master's in public health, or a bachelor's online. You can get on our website. We have information, contact us directly, and I'll be happy to provide additional information. I think those are the only two pieces of information I have. Do you have anything you want to share about the leadership certificate, the leadership development series? Because we have a training in.
I think the focus I want to focus on is one, I think I want to just highlight the Supervisor Boot Camp. It's always good when you're going through a current program to talk about how fantastic those participants are. And we have some, I think, fantastic supervisors based on the group that I have here throughout the county. So we need to give ourselves a high five as a county. I think we have some great people on board. And they are so, Unless they've deceived me, they are engaged. I think I love that because that's what we want. We want engaged employees and people who have a desire to excel and be, as we used to say in the Air Force, be all you can be. Well, you can be all you can be at Santa Barbara County, right? And then, of course, we have our management development program, which kicks off at the beginning of November as well, and looking forward to that. More to come in terms of our other programs, and I'll probably have more to share next month when we get some more concrete information, but also looking forward to our management development program. Starts on November 3rd and will run for about 3 weeks, and so excited about that. I think we only have 3 more slots left, so join us, right? So that's what we have right now.
Great. So, as Kelly made mention, the seriousness of why, or the importance, let me take the word serious. So step back, Deanna. The one of the goals of why we really wanted to have this conversation with you is just to remind our county family that we are in a fire season amid COVID-19. And just for everyone to be safe, follow the safety tips that's been offered either through your website or the national website. And let's all just really shoot for that safety for our family members, for ourselves, because we do want to navigate through 2020 and get to 2021 safely. Okay, so those are my parting words.
Okay, awesome. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. And we've had another successful 360 conversation, really, Kelly, I'll see Leonie, but if I don't see you around, because I know you're busy, have a wonderful holiday season and look forward to working with you in the new year.
And thank you for your time, and thank you so much for spending the time with us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for including me. Appreciate it.
All right,
Okay.
ladies.
All right.
Have
Bye,
a good one.
Okay, then bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the COSB 360 Conversations podcast, the platform for county influencers. We welcome your thoughts and feedback, so if you have any questions for today's guest, or if you have any recommendation for future topics and guests, please contact our co-host. We consider all county employees to be influencers, so if you're working on an initiative or a program that has a positive impact in our county, please contact us with your idea.